First thing we're going to do here is make sure that the vise is reasonably well trammed in. Let's just run our travel on out to one end. See what it looks like. I think I'm going to take it up just a little bit or bring this down a little bit. There we go. And let's set it at 0 just for fun. And bring it on back. Okay, we're about 5 thousandths out. So if we could just loosen it a little bit. And tap it back in. Oops. Loosen it a little bit more. Oops, wrong way. Okay, let's try that. All right, now we're about 10 out, so I went the wrong way. Okay, take her back to 0. And we are on the money. Okay, 0.5 thousandths off. I can live with that. Tighten it back up. Make sure we still got that 0.5 thou. Looks good. That one's just a little too high. That's good. Be plenty to grip to, and yet still off the table by a fair amount. Oops. All right, we're snug. We're down. I think this little 1/2 inch will be just fine, or 5/8, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go over and take some measurements. I'll come back in a minute and we'll continue. So I'm thinking the first thing we got to do is clean up this outside edge, and it was just a bit wide, so we're going to drop it down probably a 1/16. And while we clean it up, we'll be dropping it down, and it should be happy. Next step is well, cleaning off all the surfaces first. And putting our parallels back in place. And what we have to do is we've got to take this top edge off just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it down to a cleanup. And then it really just has to come, oh, who knows, 20, 30 thousandths to clear that top surface of that. So instead of going back and forth a number of times, we're going to pull that out and we're going to put a little fly cutter in here, and that'll kind of take care of the process. We've got our fly cutter. We're pretty close to position there. Bring the table on up until it touches. There we go. Now we're going to pull, oh, just another, let's say 20 thousandths. That should do it. Let's take another 5 just to get a clean cut. Okay, we're at the final last couple of movements before we turn it off, and I think we can turn it off at this point. And we'll drag the bit out of the way because we're going to want to pull that. Wiped off the surface, see what we got. Yeah, we got a reasonably smooth surface. We're not looking at beauty here because this is going to be underneath the other piece. We're not too worried about how it looks. And at this point, we'll come back in with our 5/8 collet and our 5/8 end mill. And now we need to go over and take some measurements to see how wide we are here. So let's go on over there and have a look at that. All right, so our measurement is going to be, and of course we want to have a little bit of slop in here just so things can move around easily and slide easily. So right now we're looking at 1/330. So we'll take, oh, I don't know, 15 thousandths out of that. And we better take some more. Let's take 30 thousandths out of that. Yeah. In fact, I might even just take another 10. Let's take, so now we've got 1/290. And that gives us a nice nice movement, just in case we have, you know, a little bit of something's a little off there. So 1,290, and we'll go back over to the mill and see what we've got there. So we're looking at 1,290, and we want to kind of be in the center of that. So 1,290, and our total width on this is 1,875, no, 65, roughly. 1,865, so half of that. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of ink here to get our marks right. And our measurement was 1,285, 1,265. No, 1,865. Let's get it right, Nick. So 1,865, half of that would be 1/2, and 4 would be 9. 1,865 would be 30. No, that's 9. 30. That's 65. So with 181, so about 32. Let's see if we can get it to there. And we'll scratch it. Come over to the other side, scratch the other side. There's our dead center. Now, what was that other measurement? I didn't write it down, of course. I'll be back in a second. So we've got 1,330. And I remember now we came back to 1,290. So 1,290, so half of that would be, and I like to just subtract everything in half, so that it'd be half of 1, and half of 2 would be 1, and then 90 would be 45. And that's pretty good right there. 45. And we could probably get ourselves a line. Let me do that with a scribe. And because it's a little bit hard to see, I think what I'm going to do is come in here and center punch this line, just to give myself a little bit of a mark. There it is right there. So off the top of the plate, or off the bottom of the plate, we have 310 thousandths. I think I'm going to give myself just a little bit more room, so let's do it at 300 even. And that's from the bottom up. So let's measure this. I'm thinking what we can do is just kind of work down to it. That might be the better deal. So let's crank up our machinery. Because we're not talking about super accurate here. We're talking about, you know, getting it reasonably close. All right, we're at the last little bits of cutting the other side. And at that point, we can call it a day. Take our piece out of the chuck, or the vise. Okay, so we've got her cut. Let's take it over and give it a try and see, make sure we got everything just about right. So far, I think we're in pretty good shape. We still have to come back in and drill a hole in the center, but we can do that at any time. So let's just walk over there. All right, let's see how it goes. Looks like it fits just about right. Nice and loose, which is what we wanted, and nice and loose up and down so that everything slides nice and smoothly. So we'll come back in, we'll drill a hole in the center, and then this piece will be done. I think what I want to do right now is come back in and take off the sharp edges, just kind of round everything up a little bit, just so it's not going to catch me at any point. Okay, we're all set up, ready to go. We're going to bring our center drill in. I guess we better turn the machine on first. We'll go ahead and get a hole started with that. Don't really need much of one. I always like to start with a crappy drill bit. I mean, not total garbage, but something that's still sharp, but I don't really care that much about, because I have some bits that are very accurate and new, and I don't really want to use them. Oops. We'll start with this one here. We're going to speed things up a bit. Okay, we got her chucked up in the vise. Just start cutting threads. And this is a pretty tight thing, so I'm going to use my bigger threading handle, get a little bit more juice on it and a lot less effort. All right, we punch through. Back to the little tap, or the little handle. Spin that thing out, and we have ourselves a T-nut, big T-nut.